Warning, warning. Terminator ready, SCP follow the datacom. Please take a seat and wait for instructions. Agent 47. That is Tanhany, podcast host, SCP containment breach expert, and lover extraordinaire. Quite the resume.
It fucking zooms in on Tanhony and he's like yelling at like a lower writer. He's like, "You're not getting it right! Redo the whole paragraph!"
Oi, man-filth! You call that an article? Can't wait to see it as a tale. Nice one.
I gotta say, I actually love the... I actually love this Nemesis system in War. Not only has it been developed a lot, but I think the speeches are much better. I actually got mad at one of my rivals. So I've been doing pretty good. I've been playing on Nemesis. Nemesis.
For purposes of the audience, he is talking about the video game
Shadow of War. Yeah. So I've been playing on like hard mode, not like the hardest mode, but a hard mode.
Yeah.
So it's pretty challenging, but I've been doing mostly good. But I got like sniped by this one like grunt while I was fighting like a whole army. Because in the hard mode, you only get one last chance, and that's it. He got me.
As it should be.
He killed me, and he became like one of the strongest captains immediately. And he called himself the Tark Slayer. And I was like, all right, I'll go do the Vengeance mission. I know how to do this. But then on the Vengeance mission, there were like 4 other captains in that zone, and he got me again.
Job.
And I went hard. I collected all the Shelob memories. I got all the shit to get the armor. And when I open the game back up after we record today, I am fucking gunning it for him. I have his thing selected. He pops up every time I get my menu, so I know who he is. I'm ready for him.
You're an actual nemesis. That's the beauty of the system, though.
Yeah, and I didn't really get that from the first one. Maybe because I was playing on an easier mode, because you have to unlock the harder modes or something. But like, I think the normal hard mode is like just enough on War that like...
The Nemesis works best when there is a good chance you are going to die, I think.
Yeah.
This is entirely unrelated to SCP, but...
He also, like, he's a stealth guy, so I can't fucking stealth on him, which is my main way I deal with a lot of shit. So he's like, he really does feel like my nemesis. I hate him. He was just a lowly grunt, and now he's like the strongest captain in the first area. Pisses me off.
Man-filth.
By low, dark low, same thing, really.
Anyway, we're not here for Border or Shadow of War. This is Discovering SCP. We haven't even said the name of the fucking podcast, I don't think.
Yeah. This is Discovering
We started
with
a Hitman reference and transitioned into a Shadow of War reference.
This has turned from Discovering SCP to Discovering Morgul after the Orcs took over. Alright, but yes, what do you have for me today? How many articles?
We have one article today. So I saw how much you enjoyed the last Admonition article last week. So I thought, why not try another one? See if we like that one as well.
It'll be a tough act to follow 6820. I hope they're not all just articles that are remakes of old SCPs.
I don't believe
that
will
get old.
No. Stylistically, there will be similarities, of course, but...
Yeah. So what was the Admonition series? What was that like the fucking Harbingers thing?
No, Admonition is the series that 6820 is the first episode of, so perhaps we'll find more.
No, I know, but I mean, like, was it like a Harbingers thing where it was a bunch of articles that, like, dropped shit, or was it like a contest or a canon?
Well, I think it's just a series of articles.
Yeah, so like what Harbingers was.
So the first one, 6820, was actually for a meme contest. The meme was, like, trying to kill 682, and that's what they made. That's what Placeholder made for it, along with co-writer, who... I'm so sorry, let me go back and get both their names, because I feel like that's so shitty of me. They're like, Placeholder and co.
I know why you feel that way, and I do want to properly credit them. Let's go back and do that, but don't feel too bad, because like it's hard to remember like a million names.
So it's Placeholder, and I believe it was Lirin as well.
Lirin, I've never heard of Lirin. Did the art. Nice, yeah. Steph Lynch did an amazing job on that, as expected. All right, why don't you link me the second article?
Sure will. There you go. It's SCP-6747. This one's called Chaos Theory. I don't have to go to the main list one because it opens with fucking Agent 6747. That is SCP-682.
So wait, who made this one? This is a long one.
This was written by Placeholder and Ralliston.
Placeholder and Ralliston. We had Ralliston on, didn't we? Or am I insane? Well, we either had him on or at the very least have talked to him, because I recognize his Shinji-ass profile pic.
Shinji? Crackhead soldier boy. This This again also is art by Steph Lynch.
God, Steph going ham. Like, can we just appreciate like how much work it takes to make like cool art that like works in article, and the fact that like she did that for the whole series? I'm assuming insane. That's crazy. Okay. I see the CSS has a theme, which I kind of like. It's very pretty. I saw someone made a comment, like a smart ass comment about me being distracted by Shiny.
It's true.
I'm gonna ream their ass when we fucking get to the comment reading. Hold on. Okay. I think I might not have understood what ream ass means, because now I'm worried I'm going to get canceled. I meant I was going to chew them out when I get to the comment reading. Oh, God. Let's just...
Let's
God.
Before
Let's just read. I'm done. This is the Tanhoney episode.
Watch out, guys. He's going to ream and shoot.
Okay, God, I must have said something bad.
He's gonna create the chew job.
I meant I'm gonna give it to him when I fucking get to the comment reading.
What? Gonna give it to? Oh my!
Just read the goddamn article. You have one job. You're sending this article up to me raw.
You just send it to them raw.
Alright, I'm about to quit I'm about to stop the recording right now.
I'm sorry.
Do it to me one more time.
Okay. That's what they'll say, I'm sure. But Overwatch command. The following file is limited strictly to the personnel necessary for its containment, excluding several A-class and overseer personnel. If you have not been explicitly cleared to view the following documents, you will automatically be amnesticized and redirected to a clearance-appropriate SCP access port.
I really like... Okay, this is like completely random and nothing to do with the article, but Overwatch Command, I just like the idea of a gag visual where it's like all these serious guys in suits and then Winston from Overwatch like spinning and
Hi there.
Have you seen the fucking...
for dropping in.
Have you seen the Problems Clown with Winston? Alright.
We need to take care of Casey.
Oh shit! No wonder you picked this. It has to do with you.
Prompt. Does the Black Moon howl? PHMD at Skipnet. It is the howl. The moon within moons. Backdoor entry accepted. Error. Bad string encountered. 7/dark/terminal. No address located. 1 out of 7.
So just to clarify, Black Moon Howl was not like something you created.
I did not
that was
create
just
it.
like you just
Parasite.
did like the big 001 on
that
it.
Is the big
whatever.
arc quest. There's like whenever there's like a secret password needed, it's generally does the Black Moon howl, and then the answer's different every fucking time.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of takes on what that means, and this is one of them.
All of them contradictory, of course, as we like it.
Yeah, of course.
I like it. SCP-6747, Level 6 Cosmic Top Secret. You're about to get fucking...
of course it is.
Reamed and chewed out for this as well when we get to comments.
Is that what admonition... Are they all like Cosmic Top Secret articles?
Well, they're all like big boys, yeah.
Okay.
Containment Class, Formiel. Subclass, Squirtle. Disruption Class, Vlam. Risk Class, Caution.
I'm so Hell's Kitchen pilled. I thought you said subclass Gordon. This is... Okay, continue.
The door to the containment chamber is open. It's completely gotten out. What a shame.
It does that fucking edit sound effect, you know, the one it's like, and they're like all looking at the camera. Yeah, like looking at the camera. It's like, and it cuts to one of them talking shit about the others. It's like, you had one job. How did you not watch the containment? And then he's like, would you like to explain this, Doctor?
The statue moves when you're not looking at it. So why did you stop looking?
I got frazzled, chef. I mean, it's director.
Assigned departments, archetypicals, ontokinetics, parapsychology, QSM. I don't know what QSM is.
Quality... I don't know.
This guy doesn't know what it fucking means.
I thought I could run with something. My brain's fried today, man, after that case.
Project leads, advisor, 058. Director placeholder, MD, PhD. Assigned sites, administrative site 01, RNC sites 15, 43, 87, and 120. Research heads, Dr. James Michaels, Dr. Madeline Cornwell, Dr. Zachary C. Saxon. Oh, Doctor Who reference! Hooray!
Wait, it is?
I don't think so.
Oh. I don't know anything about Doctor Who except that it's a bad show.
Fuck you. Documenting procedures. SCP-6747 is the terminal goal of Project Ex Machina. See Addendum 6747/V, and a MEDA class priority. As such, virtually unlimited resources have been made available for its completion.
Is a MEDA class like a known thing, or is that like an admonition exclusive?
I think a MEDA, I'm not sure. It sounds familiar, but I'm not 100%.
Gotcha.
Said project is being maintained, is capitalised there, placeholder. get back to that.
Placeholder. Well, I guess there's no quality control after the first one. I'm going to have to give this a 1 out of 10.
Shit. 10 projects to be maintained by a quorum of relevant archetypicals and...
If this was Season 1 Darnell instead of Season 20 Darnell...
archetypicals and ontokinetics personnel, as supervised by the Advisor, 058, and Director Placeholder, MD. Scientific liaison to the Lesser Council, 04. SCP-6747 necessitates the creation and definite maintenance of Dash-A. Each member of Dash-A possesses different, but substantial, computational and resource requirements unable to be properly accounted for / predicted by typical n-dimensional geometric formal logic systems.
Alright, I swear I'm paying attention, but I'm getting a little lost.
I think that... I'm also lost there, because I don't know what... I can barely wrap my head. Like, I think it means, like, we need weird
So
maths.
N-dimensional would be, like, 3, 4th dimensional, 5th dimensional.
Yeah, so
I get that. N's a
weird maths
placeholder.
is what I guess it's implying.
Yeah, but I'm not understanding... Dash A is like a group, because it's each member.
Yeah, but, special
but you have to create and maintain Dash A.
Yeah. So we're still in the containment procedure, so we're not meant to understand yet.
Okay, that's fair.
The archetypicals divisions, STF, storytellers, is to remain situated about Dash-A for their natural durations, editing them via fictional injection as required by the SCP.
Ooh, fictional injection. Is that like when I make fan fiction about things?
Maybe. Could very well
Is that a fictional injection?
No member of Dash-A should be allowed to end premature to its natural cadential movement, for potential risk of anti-narrative formation within Dash-B. I do believe we have actually read the anti-narrative previously.
What is anti-narrative?
So basically it's a series of tropes that come up in media, and if they come up, and then they happen naturally, that media gets like entirely wiped from existence, basically. So it's like
anti-memetics for stories.
Which is like, no, it actually gets like obliterated. It just never existed. Oh. But things that are connected to it still exist. So the movie will disappear, but the TV tropes page for the movie will stay.
I like that because I understand it completely destroys the thing, but that kind of gives like an in-universe explanation for, those like fever dream shows that you swear existed but like no one talks about?
Yeah.
Kind of like gives a vibe to that.
One A-class member of personnel possessing proficiency in parapsychology, presently Chernunti Ngo of Site 43, must be present at all times to soothe Dash-B should it wake from its primary function. Soothing is to be administered via dopamine injection and or controlled shock.
God, I could go for dopamine
Personnel are to be reminded that Dash-B is functionally deceased, and that reactivations of persistent neuron chains do not constitute consciousness.
Are all the admonition ones like very like scientific-y explanation?
I believe so, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually pretty good for the setting, but like my head's... Guys, I swear I'm not stupid, but if I can't follow this one today, it's just because it was a...
I also have not read this one previously, so we'll see if I can follow it.
So please be kind to me if I don't get it at the end.
Picture of Dash-B King, which looks very fleshy and also machine-y.
It looks kind of like a squid, but like a mecha squid with a spine.
Like, yeah,
with a spinal.
Kind of like one of the Half-Life 2, like the fucking advisor things. That's why I kind of see.
Oh yeah.
It's like in a metal sort of cage, sort of.
God, Steph, you drew this fucking awesome.
This is fucking sick. This is amazing.
This is so good.
And that is an illustration of Dash-B King.
And then we have another image below it, like a gif of it, like coming all together and undone, called the Paradox Exodus Engine.
Hell yeah!
Oh, now we're in anime territory, baby.
We're talking.
Now we're playing with power. Okay, sorry. Continue.
So, description: SCP-6747 is a theoretical process by which to reinstate deceased personnel. Mesofictional injection.
What the fuck is mesofiction?
So it brings people back. Well, maybe they'll expand on it. This process necessitates the indefinite maintenance of causality bubble 6747, a pocket universe which could be manipulated through the shared imagination of fictional scenarios taking place within it.
So side note, I know the SCP Wiki has no canon, obviously, but it would be like mesofictional injection would be like the top thing I think deserves a footnote, but then we'll get footnotes in other articles on like very basic concepts that everyone understands. Or we'll have a number clarified in parentheses. But no, mesofictional injection, we all know what that is. Let's keep moving, guys.
So, a pocket universe which could be manipulated through the shared imagination of fictional scenarios taking place within it. Fictionalized entities could then theoretically be retrieved and reinstated in baseline reality via The Paradox Exodus engine, a Foundation-made vessel for transport to alternate narratives. Okay, I think I understand the concept then.
So basically, it's like a pocket world that.
So it's a fictional world, is what I think.
It's a fictional world based on a shared imagination, and everyone in Dash A shares that imagination, and then things can be taken from the fictional world to the real world.
Yeah.
So it's like reviving a dead person.
Exactly.
Or at least the idea of a dead person that everyone has in their head.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually am following somehow.
Dash A collectively designates isolated microuniverses that have been created as candidates for CB6747. To date, 3 such candidates exist. Dash A1, a null space void maintained at 0 dormals. Oh my god. 1 dormal is equal to the average topological complexity of narrative spacetime in 111 space, i.e. a space possessing exactly 1 narrative dimension, 1 spatial dimension, 1 temporal dimension. I'm not going to recall
So there's one story in that universe.
Right, yeah.
That's interesting because that implies our universe has like a bajillion narratives.
Well, it's got 0, it says here, so there's nothing, no story, I guess.
No, for this void, but like our world, like the real world, would have a bunch of narratives. But like the idea of like a world that exists solely for one story, that's interesting.
Well, I guess something like Little Red Riding.
Well, this one has 0 stories.
There aren't any subplots in, let's say, Little Red Riding Hood. That would be one, I guess.
Yeah.
Thereby possessing no physical, causal, or narrative potential. Recent findings indicate that infokinetic interactions continue to occur at the quantum level, even in the vacancy of 1 or more dimensional categories. These interactions' net result tend towards an interrational value slightly greater than 0, often interpreted as a set of musical pictures.
Okay, I got a little lost.
Okay, I think the footnotes aren't quite valid. That's like extra info.
So, but wait, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt. I know this is a long article as is, but the idea that a shared imagination creates a universe, does this imply that like any really popular fiction series has its own real life universe counterpart?
In the
So like
context
the
of this
fucking
article, yeah.
like the Stormlight archives just basically have like
Have you read
go
them?
there. I'm going to. My friend keeps telling me to read
It's
them.
good. I'd recommend it.
I was going to get them from the library.
You working out at the library?
I work out the library.
Maintained as a mathematical reference, though its effectiveness in communication with pattern-based entities is noseworthy. I was about to fucking say.
Noseworthy.
We gave them
worthy of getting
noses.
We did plastic surgery on a grape.
Dash A2. In 1.5/2/1 space, 1.5 narrative, 2 spatial, 1 temporal dimension. I hope there's not going to be a
Too
text
much
at the
math
end.
for me. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Methodological testing universe dedicated to the study of narrative, ontokinetic processes, meta/metafictional interactions. Okay, metafictional means meta, then I'm going to take that as.
Sure.
Through the creation of fictionalized document SCP-5875, a species of semi-fictional entities were instated within Dash A2. Due to the universal structure's recursive fractional topology, narrative structures became enhanced through sequential mutuation, appealing to their own artificial and universal narrative to an anomalous degree.
So basically, by referencing itself, the act of referencing mutated it and like caused further mutation. Once you like acknowledge the fourth wall, I think I get it.
This guy, his brain's growing. He did go to the library.
I feel like I would do better with this article if like my brain hadn't just gone through it today. I'm trying my best, man.
These entities,
Alan Wake prepped me.
These entities were thereby obligated to cooperate with the Foundation in harnessing the universe's physics for the transfer of narrative energy to relevant personnel, achieving knowledge/aptitude in various subjects.
Okay.
Dash A3, an M/3/1 space, where M is a rational number equivalent to log, and then the missing number SCP. So that is super anomalous. This is
I think that's a theta?
Yeah, well, that in the concept of SCP, that theta is like a missing number, basically.
Okay, it links to 033 if that's
relevant. That's the SCP article for it. The missing number.
Jesus Christ.
It's a little Easter egg, I think, that's in a couple of things.
Okay.
This is the theoretical lowest proportion of narrative dimensionality to typical 3/1 space, in which any meaningful story structures can be sustained, for space. Effectively, is the minimum fictional complexity required for an arbitrary entity to achieve an arbitrary goal. Simply, that arbitrary entity, Dragon Hadrian. Simple interaction within Dash A3 can be formally stated and computed using narrative arithmetic. See Addendum 4. Dash B refers interchangeably to the K incubator/narrative generator, King, the micro-universe...
I like that, that's cool.
King, the micro-universe creation and manipulation mechanism which sustains Dash A, or the brain, spinal cord, and general nervous system of Director Jonathan A. King, deceased, functioning as King's primary computing system.
See, this kind of ruined the King acronym for me, because this implies that they tried really hard to name it after the guy.
I love that.
It's like, okay. It was cooler when it was an accident.
SCP-6747-C77777 and then we have a footnote for narrativo hazard, a construct of one or more independent naremes which collectively cause cascades impacting the structural integrity of relevant narratives.
Naremes, is that like a bullshit? Is that like Humes for narrative?
No, it's like a trope, I guess, or like a fictional sort of device.
I don't like how much like SCP like fucking technobabble knowledge you have to get through this so far. Like so far this is a genuinely cool idea, but there's like too much niche language that it's not expanded the way it should be, I think.
Well, maybe we'll learn more about it. Maybe we're meant to be confused, we'll see.
Perhaps. If that's the goal, if we're meant to be confused, I will retract that later, but if like this shit doesn't get explained, then that's a downside of this article to me.
Bad string encountered, data lost, 2 out of 7. Origin. SCP-6747 was initially theorized by the Pataphysics Department's Director Placeholder, MD, following Director King's expiration on 2029-09-13.
So did Placeholder have a hand in every article in the admonition, and it's like his co-ops?
I've not read all of them, but I would think so, maybe.
Okay.
King, the simultaneous head of agriculture, biology, chemistry, and xenobiology, possessed significant anomalous mental augmentations and capabilities, allowing the concurrent administrative management of over 800 individual anomalies and their relevant operations.
I would like to make a quick criticism, by the way, and this isn't solely for this article, but I've noticed there's a thing with SCPOCs where they're like head of a million departments. The reason that a lot of groups, companies, organizations don't do that is not because there's a lack of like big geniuses, but both like distribution of workload, but also like if this one guy dies, which he did die, that's like 4 departments that don't have a leader now. You know what I mean? So I always find that a little off-putting. I'm sure there's an explanation for it. It's not that big, but I notice that's kind of a trope in SCP. It's like, yeah, this guy manages this thing and this thing and this thing and also this thing. And it's just like, I don't really think that puts a lot of eggs in one basket in a job where you could die, like if someone stopped looking at the statue for 2 seconds.
I would probably agree with you, though. Yeah, I was also thinking something similar.
Yeah.
Later deemed a medical accident on King's behalf, his vacancy left significant Foundation operations without leaderships.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
In 92 containment breaches of anomalous items, pending review or immediate direction.
Okay, so I appreciate a shout out to Placeholder and Ralston for acknowledging what I basically just said. Every time, I swear to God, I'm not reading ahead. I do this shit constantly in SCP.
Losses incurred by the Foundation exceeded $1.4 million in recontainment and veil maintenance alone. Overseer Council, in hearing Director Placeholder's proposal for enactment of SCP-6747, eventually authorizes execution under Project Ex Machina. Hold on a fucking second. Is the objective to bring King back because only he's good enough to run all this shit?
Okay, then I retake it back. Never mind. Oh, I'm disappointed.
Well, if you can just bring him right back, what's the problem at that point? There's no
problem. Well, the problem is that you're only bringing him back based on the combined imagination, so it's everyone's opinions of King.
Well, maybe the opinions are better than the actual guy.
Maybe, but if it's not the same King, then you don't know if it's gonna like. There's so many factors that go into. It's kind of like the
Goku.
Fucking.
Just
it's
take
like
the ship and take Goku out.
It's like the Full Metal Alchemist question, right? Like, what really makes up a human being? You know. Like it's not just the fucking things he has degrees in. Like, what makes him able to work for the Foundation, do what he does, is different than just, oh, he knows a lot about this shit.
Well, we have addendum 1, scientific context. Goody.
I like this. Cannot display no character! Exclamation.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see that.
Warning message not found. I like it because it's like they're yelling at you. It's cannot display no character!
Intro to narrativics and general relativity.
Oh, hold on. This is important. There's actually an important footnote in that little message.
Oh.
Look, it says break the chains in green text.
Interesting. We have a picture of some stars in submission to the Foundation Academic Consortium by Dr. Placeholder McDoctorates, PhD, 2027-04-07.
It's very green for space. This is like Hamiltoe space. This is where he came from.
The Hamiltoe world. Fictionality and physics. What does it mean for a universe to be partially or wholly fictional from a physical perspective? The typical conception of fiction as non-real or pre-written is particularly misaligned from modern understanding. In a pataphysical sense, fictionality denotes the extent to which one reality can affect and or be affected by universes to which it is pataphysically linked, i.e. it is imagined by a sapient entity as a non-real scenario. In a similar sense, fictionality denotes the proportions which any given event can be caused, i.e. inspired, by the imagination of a sapient entity in another similar universe. The educated terms for such entities are authors for higher beings and metafictional entities for lower ones.
This is like, I know this is like actually just trying to paint a story, but it is funny to think that authors jacking themselves off so hard that it's like, authors are really gods creating worlds. Okay, guys? Just so you know, we are higher beings.
The present pataphysical model views all entities as characters, each possessing its own narrative potential energy relating to its mass, velocity, narrative trajectory, latent Akiva radiation, and normal environments.
Okay. Akiva radiation's like the religious
Yeah, that's like
right?
faith, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Every known functional reality space, to date, possesses at least one narrative dimension. The simplest case is a narratively one-dimensional universe, which is wholly fictional and only exists in the minds of its imaginers.
Well, hold on. Doesn't that go against the -A1 earlier that was like a zero domal?
Well, but that's like nothing there, so it's not as simple. This is like the simplest example of this. That's like a weird one.
I gotcha.
Characters in this universe are one-dimensional, often called flat characters, as they lack the narrative depth, or physical, metaphysical, and pataphysical levels, to make independent decisions from their author. Anything that happens in a narratively one-dimensional universe is 100% tied to an event that a pataphysically linked entity imagines simultaneously on another plane of existence.
So they're kind of getting to the idea that like you can write a character that has enough dimensions that they start doing their own things.
Yeah.
So Alan Wake.
Yeah.
I see.
This is really funny because we just played an episode of Alan Wake and this is like very similar concepts.
Yeah, I kind of dig it.
The second simplest case is our own reality, which is narratively two-dimensional. This universe space is unique in its narrative balance, as it possesses one fictional dimension and one real dimension, i.e. it is 50% fictional and 50% real. Semi-fictionality of known reality, initially theorized by, I'm not sure what, senior researcher Emeritus S.A. Swan, that one of the 001 proposals, and later proven by SR archivist Emeritus I.H. Pickman, another 001 proposal.
Heads up, SR is senior, I think.
That's right, yeah, sorry.
Senior research.
I said it right the first time and then I forgot.
I'm not going to make fun of you for that with how many fucking terms there are in this article. I don't blame you playing it safe.
On average, across our entire universe, 50% of all events are caused or influenced by pataphysical transmission, imagining, while the other 50% are governed by our universe's laws of physics, determinism.
Does this imply that we were created, but we're not flat characters, so we're able to make our own
Well, we're not
actions?
part of the SCP universe, we're above that, I guess.
Yeah, so we're even a step further. So maybe we're the... Oh, hold on.
Footnote 7.
Okay.
Personnel are reminded that free will does not exist.
Oh. Never mind.
And then we have some diagrams.
Okay. So an elastic story is kind of like the concept of causality in Berserk, I imagine.
Yeah, elastic from... I can tell what to go for elastic. Elastic is a set ending, so you can go wherever you want before that, but you're going to get the same result in the end.
I think that's kind of how causality works in Berserk too, because they mention like how there's an ocean that you can't change, but you can leap at the right moments and cause little ripples.
So concentric seems to be again. So there's really all for control. Concentric, there are like
the beginning and
stops you
end
need
are
to
kind
go
of mirrored.
There are like specific things that have to happen, but everything else is sort of up to you, I guess.
Well, it implies that you go in the shape, so it's like top, left, middle, right, top, down, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you can do anything you want at the beginning and end, but the middle, the path between those two things is always going to be the same, it looks like. Branching is
obvious.
Branching is freedom. That's freedom. You can make choices.
Freedom's that way.
Nodal, I'm not sure about nodal.
Yeah, now they're just making shit
Constellation, up. Everything usually is in control. Constellation is just like, you're free. Freedom's that
Constellation, Constellation. I was gonna assume it was. Oh god, I had a thought and now it's leaving me. Hold on. I assume Constellation. I assume Constellation because constellations are also vague. It's like the skirrent of this, where it's like, oh, that's everything that doesn't fit into these categories.
Right, maybe. The author entities, i.e. hyperdimensional characters pataphysically linked to our universe, exist in 3 or greater narrative dimensions, each increasing the extent to which respective reality is real.
Oh. Okay, so this article is acknowledging that authors are like the gods of their world or whatever. Okay. It's a little too jack-offy for me, but I'll roll with it.
That is to say, a universe possessing 3 narrative dimensions, 1 fictional, 2 real, is 33% fictional and 66% real. Hold on a second. As such, narrative phenomena are significantly less prevalent.
Where's the 1%?
As narrative dimensions increase, this is hypothesized to cause a greater proportion of inspiration derived from lower universes, i.e. an author being inspired by a character's choices, and the reduced prevalence of narrative/imagined structures, including, but not limited to, physical, metaphysical, and anomalous phenomena, resulting in hyperdimensional entities' desire to imagine a non-real scenario in which said phenomena are possible. These consequences of the universal tendency to become more real, with additional narrative dimensions, are thought to be responsible for most anomalous phenomena in the local reality group.
Do you need me to take over, by the way?
I think I can keep going until we get into these purple little speeches here.
Alright, let's do it.
So I quite like this, because I always like meta stuff. I'm sort of an outlier.
I don't mind meta stuff, and in fact, if we had read this article, say, a year or two ago, I think I would be, like, creaming my pants. But I think I've gotten to a point where I've seen so much
But
of
I
it.
like this one, because it's going so deep
SCP.
into the mechanics of it.
Yeah,
Because it's clear a lot of thought has gone into this.
I think if they weren't acknowledging the author entities, aka like people who write SCPs, I would like it a lot more. But right now, to me, it feels a little jack-off.
Well, something else to know is it also sort of indicates that the author is not necessarily non-fictional. They also have an author on top of them writing them.
Yeah.
So,
It's just kind of interesting.
if my writer's listening, well, if my writer was listening, he just needs to listen. He's fucking writing what
If your writer's listening, he should write.
He's not listening. He's speaking. Because because my lines would be written by him. He knows what I'm saying because he's the one writing it.
Well, that's not true because it acknowledges that, like, if you're not a flat character, you can make your own decisions. Yeah. So that's
like,
just the difference
guys.
of what our dimension is narrative.
This plot's getting pretty boring. Like, give me some money.
Yeah.
It should get some world hopping in here.
Yeah, come on now.
The setting's a little dull, don't you think?
Well, here's the question. Does every single person on the planet have their own writer, or is there one writer and some of us are clearly not as important to them as others?
It's difficult to say. Well, in the SCP Wiki context, there's lots of writers, but there's one universe, I guess.
Right. But with us, we don't necessarily know. If
a lot of people are contributing to the Tanani Wiki.
Yeah. It's a difference of, like, is this the Earth Wiki, or is this fucking Gravity's rainbow of stories where there's just a bajillion characters, and a lot of them don't matter?
Archetypicality and modern ontokinetics. From a practical standpoint, what exactly does it mean for an event to be partly fictional? To best understand this concept, we must first understand how exactly inspiration is transferred from one pataphysically linked universe to another. When a two-dimensional or more character imagines a non-real scenario, its pataphysical intent becomes encrypted as narrative data. This narrative intent particle, dubbed the IMAGINON...
Oh, okay.
exists,
Fucking hell. Made it too sciencey, goddammit.
Exists simultaneously in all narratively lower dimensions, projecting that universe's total IMAGINON structure. IMAGINONs of different types, there's different types now. To date, 8 types of IMAGINON particles have been formally discovered, corresponding to the 8-step abstraction of A. Reacts to create narrative structures, which combines large narrative structures, and so on.
This must be how Star Wars fans felt when midichlorians got introduced. I was like, you had me, and now there's IMAGINONs. It's like, you made it too sciencey. I know it's SCP, I know it's part of it, but it's like, come on now.
A given universe's composite IMAGINON structure is called its universal narrative, or A, annotated alpha narrative. In a sense, the A is its universe's one fictional dimension. It's tied to the structures of its universe at a physical level. This can be best understood by observing an approximation of our own A. Oh, this is smart. The hero's journey.
Oh, every freshman English major be like, I know what this is.
So a common instruction, A utilizes a metafictional tool. Like, imagine looking at it and it's like, this is the principle by which the universe works for me.
God, there are so many writers who would hate
Imagine looking at, like, TV tropes. Like, TV tropes is the record of everything that can happen. Anything not listed here cannot happen. That'd be so fucking depressing.
Well, what about anti-narratives? Those would they even be on TV tropes?
Well, anti-narratives are, like, fucking just destroy the narrative. So it's not like a...
Exactly, so would it destroy TV tropes, or would TV tropes keep a record? Because that's like, is TV tropes now...
TV tropes is not a narrative. It's a record.
Right, but when you said that TV tropes is the thing that controls the universe, that made it a narrative.
Oh, well, I guess then it could destroy that TV tropes.
Yeah, so you see what I'm saying?
We're actually we're getting into it now. We're having discussions.
So if you turned the physics of a world into a narrative somehow, and then introduced an anti-narrative, you could theoretically nuke a world.
Yeah,
which is interesting because what can become a narrative? You know what I mean?
That's how we're going to.
Because that's such a subjective line. Or maybe you just have to fucking inject some IMAGINONs into it, and then you're good to go.
Well, be careful, because when we read the anti-narrative specifically, it does sort of cascade upwards, it says. So once it gets the book, it then gets your world where the book was written, and then it goes to the world above you.
Is the Davite book an anti-narrative?
I don't think so, no. That would be a narrative, if anything. Anti-narrative destroys narratives.
If they're so worried about the Davite book, why don't they just throw an anti-narrative in there?
Because it destroys the world, I just told you.
Oh, yeah.
It eats the universe.
Yeah, but do you see what I mean? What I mean is, like, they made the history of the world a narrative through that, so then you could blow up our world by writing an anti-narrative in the Davite book when you probably couldn't have before. Yeah.
But it cascades up and gets you, so why would you do that?
Well, are we really missing out on much, you know what I mean?
But it gets your writer as well, he's not going to let you do it. You're like, oh, no. You're not putting it in there.
No.
Suddenly
I guess it's a matter of how much free will do these characters have. Damn.
At the simplest, read quantum atomic molecular levels, A manifests as a two-step abstraction. It's petaphor...
it's alpha, by the way, not A. Alpha manifests.
Alpha is petaphor of unknown becoming known, realizes particles breaking apart and reforming again.
What's a petaphor?
It's like metaphor, I guess. On larger scale...
metaphor for pataphysics?
I guess. Hang in there. On larger scales, the extent to which a given structure's behaviours imitate alpha depends on its resting narrative potential, corresponding to its likelihood to inspire hyperdimensional entities to imagine its existence.
So basically, the cooler your world is, the more people want to do stuff because of it, and then that's your resting narrative potential.
Generally, lower entropy structures are more likely to function as central entities in story structures, making them more protagonistic. We know what fucking... Oh, actually, there's a science explanation protagonist. An entity possessing above average resting narrative potential, i.e. possessing local pataphysical topology greater than 2 in local narrow space-time. Note, antagonists are a form of protagonist framed in opposition to another protagonist, and their perceived antagonism is inherently subjective.
My resting narrative potential is like fucking 0.3.
You gotta do more cool stuff.
Tops.
The other writers want to write about you. Most humans, over 96%, fall within 0.01 dimensions of narrative baseline, and therefore are generics.
I really don't like this narrative, because this implies only the super special, cool OCs are what really change history. And it also implies that history is like a narrative of like heroes and villains. I don't like that at all.
Well, 5% is still a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, but I really don't like that idea. It's like, most of the world are just NPCs that don't matter. But fucking Dr. Big Cock, he's the real hero. He could change the timeline. It's like, shut the fuck up.
The standard lot of characters not included in larger story structures due to inherent disinterests. You're boring. Approximately 1.88% of humans score below 2 on the PH narrative complexity scale, i.e. they possess below average narrative potential. This indicates that they are...
Oh, wait, hold on. I have to apologize. I misunderstood. It's saying fall within 0.01 of the baseline of the narrative, not that 96% of people are, like, that little important. It says only, like, 2% of people are below protagonist level. This indicates... I flipped my opinion around. I apologize, placeholder and Ralston. I thought you were doing the whole, like, only the special people matter, but you were saying most people tend to be within the realms of their narrative, and almost all humans are protagonist level, except for a small number.
This indicates that they are more likely to be influenced/acted upon by the narrative structures around them, causing them to conform into archetypal roles. A character who's below average narrative energy results in a tendency to conform to archetypes as required by local narrative structures.
I see.
The standard narrative space-time model incorporates 12 archetypes as based in Jungian pataphysics. Briefly put, protagonists possess slightly more independence from narrative structures than average, as they are able to bend story structures towards their goals, while archetypals are slightly more suggestible to serving as vessels for alpha.
So alpha is like the idea of the story itself.
Yeah, the story
so
structure.
Like the narrative of the world influences that. Okay.
So yeah, like archetypical is going to serve the purposes of the story.
Okay.
Protagonism is viewed internally as a form of light reality bending. Agreeing with the modern ontokinetic conception that any and all reality bending effects can be traced to a distortion of one or greater narrative, spatial/temporal dimensions. This relationship is reciprocal. Example, a black hole significantly distorts narrative space-time in its vicinity, a form of non-anomalous reality bending, granting itself both physical and narrative gravity. This entails that the black hole will draw other high-density characters, protagonists, towards itself, increasing the likelihood that it will engage in story structures with it.
Okay.
And expert, because I guess black holes are interesting.
Sure.
Addendum dialogue missing. Data lost! Find it!
No! Find it!
You fools! Go out there and find it! Don't show your faces till you have the data!
Unbelievable. Can we get through one article without missing data?
Can I popcorn this to you? Can I fold up on my sword?
This isn't really something to read, it's just a graph, but sure.
Please read it.
Addendum 6747/205 Council Proposal.
There's Addendum 2.
Proposal. Devote Foundation resources to the creation, usage, and maintenance of Project Ex Machina. So I have to count now.
Oh, it tells you at the end.
We have... Oh, okay. Stalemate. 5 yeas, 5 nays, 2 abstains.
One position's vacant. Whose position is that?
Fucking rip.
Is that 9? What happened to 9?
Yeah, 9. 9's missing.
Pushes people out of the way. I need to see him!
Result stalemate reached. Protocol dictates a summon of the Lesser Council, 04, to be called to determine the project of the outcome of the project. Was the Lesser Council a thing before this article?
I think it's been mentioned briefly. Like people throw around the term 04. I don't think it really meant anything until
it's like the vice president of SCP. Don't do anything.
Well, we have actually a footnote that tells us about them.
Okay. The 04 Council is a quorum of around 100 site directors, department heads, and other A-class personnel, so it's more like the House of Representatives, responsible for handling important situations that do not require the attention of Overseer Council. Due to the Oracle 059's vacancy following the conclusion of the Damien Nowak case, 04 Command functions as a tiebreaker for the oft-tied 05 Council. Noreen Plex unable to be accurately realized, system security increased, 5 out of 7. Another thing that says break the chains. Break the chains of your narrative. Oh, is this going to end with like people breaking out of the narrative of the wiki?
Killing us.
Maybe. Addendum 6747/3. 04 Command Summit. Video transcript 046747/2. Date 2029-10-23. Parties present. Summit Lead Director James Michaels. A member of the Site 120 Director Council, Director of the Spatial Disruptions Division of the Department of Ontokinetics, chosen as the Summit Lead for extensive knowledge regarding ontokinetics and the nature of reality. Director Place HMD, PhD, MD. Director Alistair Vemhoff.
I'm not familiar with this man.
A-class personnel, head of the Translation Department, oldest Foundation personnel, excluding Overseer personnel.
Can I be him?
Sure. Director Ethan McCarthy Jr., member of the Site 120 Director Council, Director of the Theology Division of the Department of Ontokinetics.
Bless you. Can I be him as well?
Sure. Director Daniel Ashworth, member of the Site 120 Director Council, Director of the Thaumaturgy Division of the Department of Ontokinetics.
You can have him.
Around 85 other A-class personnel. So I guess that's the opposite of D-class. It's the most important doctors. A-class personnel composing the 04 Council. Various managerial personnel.
And Soren's friend.
Soren's friend.
Soren is not here, but Soren's friend is.
Alright, so I'll be Director James, I'll be Placeholder, and I'll be Daniel. You can be Alistair.
Alright.
Alistair's the old one.
Maybe I'll make him less cartoonishly old, though.
No, that's funny. I like that.
But he's going to be talking a lot.
Forward. The following transcript is truncated for brevity. Thank
Backwards.
God. Prior to recording a 40-40-0 stalemate regarding the vote had been reached, Director Vemhoff held the deciding vote in Project Ex Machina's approval. Despite his attendance, Director McCarthy Jr. could not fully participate in the summit due to health concerns linking to another story.
Another part of the MCU.
The placeholder universe. Begin transcript. Depicted in frame are directors Michaels, why is Michaels spelled with E before A? Is it Michiels?
Maybe.
PHMD, Vemhoff, and Ashworth. Director Vemhoff clears his throat and chatter among the council ceases. I forgot which ones I am. Hang on. I'm Ashworth, placeholder, Michaels. Okay.
And McCarthy Jr., I might not even speak, to be honest, but... So, if I'm understanding everything correctly, you want to bend the universe itself to resurrect the dead, yes?
We're not bending anything. Our understanding of our physics has developed significantly enough...
For Christ's sake, boy! Don't lawyer me! Answer the question.
Come on, it's just not that simple. Raises his hand. Yes, that's exactly what we want to do. We're bending the laws of physics to our whim, which humans have been doing for thousands of years.
You're all insane.
I beg your pardon?
You heard me! This is ludicrous! You're toying with forces you don't understand. Okay, Boomer.
Director, I personally guarantee that the pataphysics department...
Pataphysics! We are but children glimpsing at the clockwork of our ticking reality. Oh, cos, or some say cosm. We know nothing. You know nothing. This is madness.
This is like those like old people in academia that are so full of themselves.
Well, actually, I would probably agree with this guy. If I knew I was a fictional character, I'm not fucking with the story.
Honorable Director, please. The thesis and components of the project are founded upon decades of research. We know what we're doing. You don't need to resurrect one guy, just hire 4 people, you fucking idiot.
I was there when the department was founded 1,000 years ago. The motto was once killing our gods, freeing us from control. Now we seek to become our own gods. You don't know anything!
Silence on recording. Director Vemhoff glances around the meeting room, observing each of the personnel present.
Let's assume for a second everything works out fine, and you desecrate King's corpse, and then he comes out of the machine fine and well. What then? Do you even comprehend how much it costs to maintain a local reality space? The amount of precision, safeguards required. The personnel required to maintain it every single moment of each day, lest all progress be lost.
I just had a realization.
What?
Now again, I know there's no canon in the SCP wiki, but doesn't, 2000 invalidate this whole need?
Well, they can't make a specific guy, they just make, guys in general.
Yeah, but wouldn't he be one of the guys they made if he's so fucking important?
Well, 2000 doesn't always exist. It exists when it needs to.
Yeah, right, exactly. Which one was fucking Ashworth? It doesn't have to end there. We could bring back anyone, Vemhoff. Think about it.
I understand what this thing can do.
We could bring back Hannah, or Rhea even. Oh, don't fucking bring up his grandchildren or whatever. Dr. Hannah Rivera and Dr. Rhea Michaels, 2 deceased personnel responsible for Site 120's founding in 1916. Oh my god, how old is this guy? If this is in 2029, he's like 100. He's like, oh god. Oh god.
Rhea.
Dr. Vemhoff's expression changes from apparent aggression to contemplation.
Rhea.
Yes, Alistair. Don't you think they'd be proud of what we've done with the place?
But...
There's no but. Look, I know what you're trying to say. I'm definitely no narrative expert. But if this man... To be fair, this guy has no backbone of, the first time his loved one's coming back mentioned. It's like, oh, well, I guess it's fine then. Director Ashworth points towards Director PHMD. Says it's safe? Then I don't know who
this
else...
This guy wrote the article.
Yeah. He's so smart and good, and he's definitely an author god. Silence on recording. Director Vemhoff casts a vote in favor. No!
Director Vemhoff,
no!
You should have trusted those Zoomers. Final...
Afterward.
Sorry. Before.
Yeah. Afterward. Final vote tallied 41-40, yielding an Overseer Council vote of approved 652. Oh my god, all of that and they only count for 1 vote. I guess that's why they're the tiebreaker, though. Project Ex Machina cleared for resource request. Hazard detection... Wait a minute. Shouldn't it have been 41-39?
No.
Or no, he just hadn't voted yet. Okay. Hazard detection system crash. Imaginon underflow! Exclamation.
No, my Imaginons are spilling out my pocket.
No.
Don't help me pick them up.
Do you want to take over again, or do you want me to keep going?
Well, just one more little addendum and I'll come back.
Alright, you want me to do this one?
Could you please?
Project Ex Machina. Initial proposal. 2029-09-13. Director Placeholder HMD PhD Pataphysics Department Archetypicals Division. Purpose. Revive relevant administrative personnel to a state preceding their natural death by injection into a mesofictional causality bubble and subsequent retrieval via blank XMCD/2 Paradox Exodus engine. Abstract. A member of A-class personnel serving in significant administrative capacity perished accidentally and requires revival to resume duty. Again, this whole thing could be resolved by not having a dude in charge of 4 fucking departments.
This is a good opportunity to get new guys in charge.
They would literally rather revive people than pay workers.
It's true, what actually happens?
They'll spend $3 trillion on this fucking god device, but God forbid 4 people have a salary and benefits. Various other methods of resurrection, such as the utilization of consciousness-trapping items, quantum approximation, natural phenomena, or thaumaturgic rituals. Those are all links, but I don't know how I'd click them because the footnote disappears. Oh, if you move fast enough, I see. Okay. Have proven unsuccessful due to inherent imprecision in replication of consciousness state, traits, and exact resting narrative potential topology. As such, SCP-6747 is to be pursued as a method of reproducing heavily protagonistic characters. So this is the Doctor's super special. Method. SCP-6747's success is not dependent on the existence/maintenance of a resurrected entity's physical body. Coincidentally, late Senior Administrator Director J.A. King's brain possesses several anomalous augmentations, granting it creative and interpretational capabilities far beyond human or computational capacity. As such, said brain and associated nervous system is to be excised and incorporated as the central computing system of SCP-6747-B, a pocket universe creation/manipulation/maintenance engine. SCP-6747-B...
I'm still saying, we can do this. Mobile task forces cost a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we make Goku and bring him out and just have him do it?
But Goku would be given sensu beans to 682. You feel
no,
me?
We'll make some adjustments to Goku with my fanfic Goku. And he's edgier.
6747-B King will be used to study universes of varying dimensionalities, specifically those which are... Well, another danger to that, right, is so they know that there are author entities that control them. Let's say they bring forth Goku. Then the author people above them would have control of Goku more than
then the article would get removed for copyright infringement and the universe would end.
Yeah. King will be used to study universes of varying dimensionality, specifically those which are mathematically curious or possess behaviors yet undefined. Studied data will then be employed to generate a causality bubble, CB6747, capable of fully replicating personnel, narrative, and intellectual capacities, using as few resources as necessary. M is reserved as the theoretical lowest value of narrative topological complexity, able to sustain functional narrative structures in M31 space. In M narrative dimensions, 6747's alpha possesses a mesolinear structure that can be directly edited via injection of IMAGINON particle types. So basically, people are influenced by their narratives. By keeping the narrative space super small, you can influence the narrative and thus influence the person however you want.
I see.
I think. If I understood that right.
I think you're right.
General 8-step cyclical alpha abstraction. A character rests in a known state, is motivated to change its state, enters an unknown state, searches to enact said change, locates a vessel to allow said inaction, retrieves said vessel at a significant cost, returns to the known world, having enacted its desired... So, the hero's journey. Corresponding to 8 categories of Imaginon... Oh, fuck me.
Fantastic.
Why did you have to put midichlorians in your goddamn article?
Tell me about the Imaginons.
I hate this.
On my fucking death, tell me about the Imaginons.
See, it goes from being a really cool meta concept to authors jacking off author concepts. I hate it. Okay, so we have 0, the nullion, a neutral narrative particle, 0 spin.
The spin?
1, the motivon, chain structure initializer, unidirectional spin. 2, exploron, more like fucking moron.
Hey.
Binds with motivons to yield resolvons, bidirectional spin. I hate that they tried it. What?
Maybe a bit much.
I'm sorry. I'm mad. I'm just mad that they're trying to take I don't know. I know that's SCP's thing is making science out of cool shit, but it's just I hate the idea of simplifying human desires to story tropes and fucking science terms. You know what I mean? It's just I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean to you, PhD in Ralston. This is a good article. I really hate it. Not the article, but that concept specifically of Imaginons. So Resolvon. Bidirectionally motivates structural resolution, producing MacGuffion. Omnidirectionally linked, high-density particles composed of complex motivon Resolvon chains. You see what I mean?
We're having some fun here.
Brian Griffinon. Sacrion, bidirectionally linked particle necessary for formation of Returnon, unidirectionally linked reintegrates imagined structures with macro narrative.
I also don't know what... this is very hard to tell what these are actually doing.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Motivon, motivation, exploron,
well, no, it's different, because
enter an unknown
they correspond
state.
to them, so... I don't know,
so
keep going. I have to be honest, the Imaginons are very strange, because they don't seem to really, contribute much to the article here.
Yeah, they're trying too hard to put a science on things that there shouldn't be a science to. You know what, though? At least I'm glad that they've established in their world that this is just for their world, not necessarily the world that the authors live in. Just some author decided to make their world unnecessarily tedious. And that wasn't necessarily Ralston and placeholder. That might just be a part of the whole sciencey world of SCP. But I apologize to them. These fictional characters, that their world is like this. And then we have 7, cadential boson. Theoretical particle responsible... Hello.
Hello.
Responsible for the cadential field through which narrative... It's not bosom, it's boson. You bozo.
Madam, your bosom.
Okay. The Higgs bosom.
This is the horniest Discovering SCP episode.
You literally just said the word bosom. I'm sure I've been hornier on podcasts before than that.
With Cassie?
Yeah. That wasn't even horny. That was hornier than saying the word bosom.
Bosom. I said it 3 times now.
Okay, now now you might be topping it.
Sorry, we're topping it. Really? Well, we also had that exchange at the start of the episode as well.
I don't even remember what we talked about at the start of the episode. It's already been an hour ago.
So you like ream all our viewers.
Oh God, no! That's not what I meant. Anyway, I don't even remember what comment I was so mad about now. I just remember me being like, "Oh, did I say something that's going to get me canceled? What does ream mean?" I meant to like chew them out. Well, I swear I'll get through the last IMAGINON, guys. It's happening. Cadential boson. Theoretical particle responsible for the cadential field through which narrative energy is released following the successful execution of alpha-aligned story structures. Okay, we did it.
What did we do?
We got through it. End excerpt. 33% or greater anti-Neremplex structure detected within current documents. System lock engaged. 7777777/7. Harvest.
Okay, I'll come back.
Wait, that's funnier if it's Shigechi. Harvester! He's in control.
Right, 5. SCP-6747 attempts. Forward. On 2029-1107, backwards. Following the successful initialization of Brawl Project Ex Machina subcomponents, -B was used to generate and stabilize causality bubble -A3. To ascertain if the universe is sufficiently narratively anchored and can be utilized for the SCP, the following tests were attempted. Attempt A/13. Intent. Generate a simple narrative describing a single red apple and attempt extraction to baseline. Reaction. Pre-constructed narrative accepted into -A3's universal structure. Despite minor power and stability fluctuations observed shortly after, the bubble gradually approached stability following test conclusion. Outcome. Retrieved item exhibits inexplicable narrative phenomena, simultaneously displaying characteristics of protagonistic and archetypical entities. Various site operations are impeded by items' sudden relevance in a plurality of local storage structures. Researchers are going, I love that. This shit is what I'm into here.
Yeah.
The apple is suddenly a MacGuffin, basically, for everything around it.
That's fun. So, like, the idea is, like, they can make it more important by affecting the narrative, so their idea is, like, they made the apple a fucking MacGuffin.
Well, they didn't even mean it. I mean, they just wanted to make an apple.
Yeah.
But it's like, the apple is suddenly vital to all these other stories.
I love it. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Does that imply that the apple from the Bible is because they did this?
Maybe.
Hold on.
Attempt B27. Intent. Generate a minimal narrative describing a deceased canine. The subject chosen for the experiment was Director Ashworth's deceased dog, chosen for enhanced narrative potential and availability of relevant information. Sure it was Ashworth.
Does this explain why there's so many stories about, like, the dog saint that, like, ate a guy or ate a baby or something?
I don't know about that. I think we're maybe going a little outside the box there. Yeah. Prior to its death, an attempt extraction of significant narrative density to baseline.
Oh wait, I think this is an Old Yeller reference. Yeah, I went to deep cut. I think it's like Old Yeller.
Reaction. Pre-constructed narrative accepted. Over a 72-hour period, the SCP undergoes slight fluctuation in narrative topology, eventually stabilizing to manifest the expected outcome. Following its extraction to baseline, the retrieved entity exhibited behaviours imitating that of cliched protagonistic canine, disregarding all known pre-resurrection traits. They made him generic. No. Dr. Go's anesthetization request has been denied, despite heightened frequency of SCP-B soothing duties.
So basically, what I'm getting is this doctor tried to bring his dog back, but it wasn't really his dog.
Generic dog.
Yeah, and he's like, please anesthetize me, and they're like, fuck you. That's sad.
Attempt C4.
Fuck the Foundation. I can't. You don't have enough pills to spare an anesthetization.
There's a different
pill
doctor
for
that
that.
requested anesthetization. Did you want the dog to be anesthetized?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Attempt C30. Intent. Generate a static narrative describing a human male working as an experienced technical engineer for Project Ex Machina and extract a baseline. The shit they'll do rather than hire people.
Yeah, for real.
I'll create a man.
This explains why there's so many people in the Foundation now, though.
Reaction. Pre-constructed narrative accepted into SCP-A3 structure. -B experienced a number of large power fluctuations and high temperatures over an 80-hour period, as reality bubble slowly approaches stability. Narrative structure eventually fully processed without exceptional complications. Outcome. Resultant entity, self-identifying as Technician John H. Doe, didn't even give him a proper fucking name, exhibits a cooperative and cordial personality, and regularly performs repairs on secondary SCP equipment. Due to above-average intelligence, capacity for advanced problem-solving, and overall expertise, Technician Doe has been granted official employment within the Foundation, and is presently assigned to Project Ex Machina.
Yeah, but how he has like no ID, no nothing.
Well,
How's he gonna live a life outside of work?
I imagine.
Yeah, I know, but like, do you not see the like capitalist dystopia of just like hiring like?
Imagine you are created and you find out they did the bare minimum in like describing you. It's like, what's my name? It's like, oh yeah, what is your name?
This is what we were talking about in Alan Wake when it's like they strip you of everything but like your work personality. That's what these guys are.
Attempt D49. Intent: generate a liminal narrative describing Director King in his office a day prior to his death and extract a baseline. Begin transcripts. This is what they put in, I guess. Director King.
Oh, the fact that Director King has a green here makes me think that like that involves the green footnotes from earlier.
Director King is depicted sleeping, seated at his office's desk. He awakes, scanning his surroundings, and produces a stir at the opposite wall in apparent contemplation. Moments later, Director King reacts to an unseen entity upon his office's floor and becomes uncharacteristically hostile. No, fuck, it's not supposed to... God damn it, why don't you just leave me alone? A wormhole forms, permitting the Paradox engine's entrance into the -A3. 3 archetypals personnel emerge from the vessel and calmly approach Director King. Subject appears unaware of their arrival, remaining fixated on the wormhole. Director, can you hear me? We need to go. We don't have much time. Director King looks to an unseen entity at the mouth of the wormhole, ignoring containment personnel. My time? What the hell are you talking about? Director, are you fine? Can you see us? What? Director King lunges towards the wormhole aggressively. What the hell is he doing? Containment personnel show confused glances. Dr. Saxon approaches Director King and contacts his shoulder to no response. The latter breathes heavily.
Oh, I think I know what's happening. Remember they mentioned protagonists can bend story structures to their will? And he has high protagonist energy or whatever, and they're introducing him to like a narrative with like the lowest possible thing. So he's basically about to become a god, right? Of his like little world they've created.
But Director King has it expunged, and then vessel.
Yeah, so basically he's about to become a god now.
Well, I think it's like, I'm interpreting different. I think someone's like possessing him. Like possessing the character here.
Maybe
because he's
right.
seeing something coming out of a wormhole here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I was off.
Well, it's like not even possessing the guy, possessing the fictional character.
That's interesting.
Director King's facial features are distorted significantly as he attempts to damage the Paradox engine's hull. Local reality begins to violently stabilize, resulting in the appearance of a fractal heptagonal spiral at Director King's back. Containment personnel are commanded to abort mission, quickly retreating into the ship and returning to baseline. Outcome: -A3 abandoned during experiment due to inexplicable characteral and narrative corruption. Strenuous encryption of this corruption has led to the vague discovery of a number of new entities within the bubble. Further research ongoing and hereby lifted to Ecce class priority, Return to Addendum 6 for further details.
Yes, you got it right. Addendum
I'm
6.
learning. I can actually intake information.
10. We're already over an hour.
I was going to say,
so much left.
This may have to be a part 2. Well, I don't think it'll take the full part 2, but we'll have to like finish this.
I know the fans hate a part 2, but like, goddamn, this is a big article. Blame me.
That's a good stopping point anyway, I would say.
Yeah. So, can you keep track of where we were
yes,
at?
Absolutely.
We are
right before alert. We picked a good spot because it changes like layout very suddenly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I have to say, although there have been sort of, I wouldn't say it's as sort of cohesive as the last entry in Admonition. I am still enjoying it. 6.8. Like, 6.8 was. I completely both agree. Was more sort of more focused, I would say.
Yeah, I agree, and I think. I appreciate you calling me. I didn't want to be too mean during the Imaginon thing. I don't want to give the wrong impression. I do think that so far... I'm not going to give a rating yet because we haven't finished, but so far I do think this is a genuinely really good article, and it's clear they put a lot of work and thought into it, and I appreciate that. But just because there are parts I strongly disliked, I don't think that means I'm going to throw out the baby with the bath, so to speak.
My only issue, it feels like, especially with, like, the Imaginon stuff, it feels like we've got, like, a good through line that we go, but sometimes, for some reason, we're just going to the side for, like, an extended period of time. With, like, information
if they took out, like, really a little more of the technobabble and just went more with what the story they're trying to tell here, I think that would have gone a long way, rather than, like, they get lost a little in the weeds, I think. But I like it a lot so far. There's a lot of things I like. There's a couple things I don't like. But overall, I think this is pretty damn good. And I can't wait to finish it next week. Or if you want, we can go long and try to do it.
I think it's probably best to do this as a part 2 and then maybe another article next week as well.
Apologies to Lan. I know he hates the part 2s. He hates
discovering SCP.
Yeah, he's like, I hate when they break it up into episodes. Tan sent me a thing that says Darnell and they start talking about you will never know the end to that meme. I forgot that image existed.
Part 2 for this week is post in the comments which meme you think it is I sent him.
Wow. Okay, that was a good laugh. A much needed laugh. Hopefully I'll remember all this shit when we continue next week. But for now, we have some comment readings to do, don't we?
We do, absolutely, yes.
Let me get that open. Let's see. It's always weird when I open the podcast episode and I hear your voice for a split second, because, like, it doesn't sound any different than you speaking to me on mic, obviously, in Discord. So it's like, is he talking? Is it talking?
It?
Yeah, it being the fucking
vessel
recorded version of you. Alright, you ready?
For the comments?
We actually got a lot this week. We haven't had that many for a while, but we have 24 comments this
finally.
Granted, some of them are replies, but still, we have like more than normal, which is nice. Crowcat says, listening to this reminded me how much I love 6820. Have always really liked 682. How it's been fleshed out over the years, from test logs to other articles, is super interesting to me. Then 6820 takes it to its logical conclusion, and it fucking rocks. You pretty much encapsulated my feelings on it, buddy.
Like 682, your feelings, not regarding it, no one can deny it's like one of the pillars of the fucking like fictional universe at this point.
And
you
I think
of
what
SCP,
helps it
you think of the statue and you think of the big lizard.
I think what helps it too, aside from being like iconic, is I think it's one of, I know it's not really a canon, but it feels like one of the earliest, if not the earliest, like, true collaboration effort. Like, I'm sure there were articles before it where, like, two authors were like, yeah, team up. But, you know, like, authors nowadays, they do these big collab projects, but, like, I feel like, at least in the early days, every fucking author wrote, like, a test log for 682, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was like a rite of fucking passage. Just like, you have a new SCP, let's see if it can kill the big lizard.
Yeah, exactly. Which, in a sense, kind of connected everyone, and I think made everyone more attached to it. Because everyone had a little bit to do with 682.
Everything exactly. Whether or not it can kill the lizard.
Everyone had a little bit to do with it, which I think grew everyone's attachment to it as a community, which is kind of cool.
New SCP challenge. Go to a given article and see how many cross-links it takes to get you to 682.
Oh my god, I like that. The Harbinger says, Admonition gets wild. Can't wait for episode 5. I don't know, how many are we going to do? Are we doing all of Admonition?
I guess it depends on... Well, I'm going to be honest, we're not going to do it all in a row. I don't expect us to do that, but probably, eventually we'll sort of get through it.
Shythalia says, in this episode, 682 dies and becomes a god. Is this Homestuck? Banker Paul says 000. That's not modern Darnell. Wait, what? What was
Classic
000?
Darnell? What will it be? Post in the comments what you think it is.
Sorry, I was listening back. It was the warning, obviously, but like I don't know what he means by that's not modern. Fun fact: Cosmic Top Secret is a real security. Well, I don't know. Fun fact: Cosmic Top Secret is a real security clearance level in NATO. Don't scroll down. There are no comments. Fuck you, Banker Paul. What'd you say?
Liar Paul.
Yeah, he is a liar. Dino Tales says, "Oh shit, we haven't heard from Dino Tales in a while."
Oh yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back, Dino Tales. Good to see you, buddy. Dino Tales says,
"I'm so glad it's Valentine's Day because he's always been really nice to us and always been very positive and loyal, you know."
Well, his character arc is he realized we're never going to read his like 3 recommendations he used to put in every episode, so he just comments now. I feel so bad.
As a reward, post a recommendation. I will read it. I promise.
Don't believe his lies, but you might as well give it a shot, I guess.
This only applies to Dino Tales. The rest of you can go to hell.
This is going to give him like a crisis too, because he's going to have to pick one article. If you post more than one article, we won't read any of them. You have to decide what the top article you want.
One of my sadistic jigsaw games.
If you say Ouroboros, we won't read it either.
Hello, Dino Tales. You constantly post recommendations in the comment, but can you recommend a path to life? Make your choice.
Dino Tales says, really glad you guys read this one. Really hope you guys read some of the other admonition stuff. I have great news for you.
I just realized my jigsaw impression just Kylo Ren. Look how old you've become.
It's got some really interesting concepts, though it can be a little hard to follow from time to time. That being said, Anomalous, erase the concept of Tanhoney and Darnell from the local news sphere.
Anomalous, no!
Oh god, he's gone. Thankfully, Anomalous spared me. Hang on, let me write Tanhoney back into existence real quick. And done.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, nothing much. We have more comments.
Oh, hey, I need to get my other self out of the void so we can fuse.
Oh, no.
We fused.
This is the peak of storytelling. Remember when our lore used to be good?
When?
Good point. Christopher Hale says, I tend to dislike the Site-17 Deep Well canon in general, just from the general concept and how badly it's implemented in a lot of articles for it. But Admonition is absolutely the exception. What the fuck is Site-17
So Deep Well is a canon, I believe, it's all like a big corrupt foundation, very much focused on that. And Admonition, I believe, is sort of like...
just all the foundation
that's the focus of it, though.
I see.
Admission, I believe, is sort of in a very, very similar universe, but slightly different, I believe. I'm not 100% on that.
Okay. The 4 articles that currently make it up... Wait, didn't someone mention Admonition 5? I'm confused. The 4 articles that currently make it up are some of my absolute favorites on the wiki, if only for the extremely cool concepts and images, and the absolutely god-tier presentation. I'd be super interested in seeing you two tackling the other 3 articles released. 6747, 6659, and 6488 in that order.
I did just have a look. There are only 4 episodes. I don't know what about reading the 5th one's about.
Maybe he implied that we would write Admonition 5, but we'd have to have a placeholder on for that, and that's too much work. Also, fun fact, Cosmic Top Secret is the actual name of the highest information security level for NATO. Now I believe it. I didn't believe it when Liar Paul said it, but now that Christopher Hale said it.
Honest Hale.
Sometimes real life is weird.
Christopher Hale at back and forth is like the Jesus and Devil meme.
That almost makes it more damning, though, because in the SCP universe where they have all these bullshit containment classes, the most creative thing they could think of for their highest order was to copy NATO.
Exactly.
Like,
losers?
It should have been something like fucking Super God, XX, OC, Special, Doctor Lockdown.
Should have been like Luciferio.
Luciferia, that would have been tight. Hamiltoe says, I love this one.
Thank you, Hamiltoe.
I love this one, darling.
Thanks, Hamiltoe. Very cool.
This is off topic, but what was my voice I did for Ion in Aetheral Space?
It was a little bit like this, I think.
It was a little bit like Khajiit or something.
Yes, Khajiit, but with less cat.
I love this one. Like that?
Yeah.
I love this one. Sobek says, I love DSCP and the co-hosts, Blank and Darnell. Darnell and Blank have such great chemistry and witty banter.
No.
Lan said...
Lan said, if we all collectively... out of reality.
Lan said, if we all collectively agree to forgive... Poor Lan. Lan said, if we all collectively agree to forget about Tanhoney, we can erase him from the news sphere and finally destroy him once and for all.
Wait, what?
He exists solely as an amalgamation. He exists solely as an amalgamation of our nightmares and fears. Every time he does the wah anomalous, can you play like the Super Mario 64 like game over like do 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 do
sped up so that it doesn't interrupt anyone.
Don't actually do that. That's too long of a bit. Comedy Man Kelp says, man, I understand perfectly why Darnell doesn't want to read Ouroboros because its length makes it not well suited for the podcast format. But at the same time, I'm kind of bummed because it's my favorite story on the site.
Nice comedy, Kelp Man.
Yeah. It's not comedy. That was just kind of a statement.
This is the comedy man. I don't know if you realized.
Crowcat says we've already read 1/4 of Ouroboros, which I don't think is real.
Well, it's made of articles, but like, in terms of length, definitely.
Okay, I was under the impression it was like this one big, like over 100k word article or 500k word or whatever the fuck. I didn't realize it was split up into articles.
Yeah,
That's different. If that's the case, and we can do it one episode at a time, I'm willing to read it. But everyone kept telling me, like, oh, it's over 500,000 words. Oh, it's so long. I thought it was like one fuck-off article.
There is one that is a big fuck-off article. It's a tale, I believe.
Yeah. Quaker Button Nose says, this pisses me off because Tanhoney did not listen to me when I was out.
Hold on.
Says, I sure do love
No,
listening to the new
you
DSCP.
misunderstood. Because this comment was posted... That comment was posted... It was... Okay, I will admit to this. I did do it wrong first, and for a brief time, the previous episode was available 12 hours before it should have been. When I became aware of this, I took it down and scheduled it properly. In that brief time,
so you did fix it.
I did fix it, but in that brief time, this thief listens to it.
Quaker Button, though, says, I sure do love listening to the new DSCP episode at the correct time and not 12 hours early. That being said, that kind of warms my heart because that means Quaker's like the only one aside from Guare who mentioned it that like follows us on Spotify. Because everyone else otherwise would have got the notification.
Follow us on Spotify. Maybe I'll make more mistakes like this in the future.
Orchid Stream says, placeholder. I'm more of a place thrower myself. The UK is my favorite place to throw.
Interesting.
Guare SCP said... See, this pissed me off. That's right. Darnell is easily attracted to shiny CSS, so I can conclude he's actually a bird. First of all, fuck
what do you think of this?
I usually hate when people give too much credit to CSS, but I really liked what was done with 682 because I felt like it didn't intrude on the article, and it was like just right to set the tone of it. And I kind of like the admonition stuff in general, because it's like supposed to be this big epic shit. But like, I do not just like shiny CSS. In fact, sometimes I hate on things more if I feel like more effort was put into the CSS than the actual article. Because my opinion is that CSS is a great aesthetic for your article, right? It's like great presentation. But if your CSS is better than your article is, I'm going to hate it that much more than if it had just been the article. Because that means as a writer, you focused more on trying to make it look pretty than make your story good. Which makes me upset. But if your article is good enough to match the good CSS, then I think it's awesome. That is my personal opinion on CSS. I don't know what yours is, Tanhoney. I would like to hear it.
I think CSS is nice. Of course, anything's nice to look at, but it does have to have a solid foundation. The thing you are showing me with CSS, I have to like anyway, or else CSS will just stand out as like stand no substance.
The reason I got mad when we read that cold post is we read a cold post that I felt not only wasn't too great, but it had a lot of errors that could have easily been fixed with like a little bit of crit that weren't fixed in favor of doing the really fancy CSS, and it had a positive rating at the time of reading it, and that's what made me mad about it. Because I feel like the good CSS isn't a bad thing, but they should have spent more time actually critting and like going over their story than like making it look fancy. And then it still got basically rewarded for looking fancy. That's what made me mad. Oh boy, it's Boots says
he was actually really angry. Once we stopped recording, I could hear him like smashing up his room.
Yeah, I destroyed my desk. I had to get a new one over the week. Oh boy, it's Boots says the thumbnail LMFAO. An anomalous writer said, all right, JT, we gotta. All right, let me read Anomalous, and then we have to talk to JT in the comments.
Okay.
An anomalous writer says, start of admonition. Let's go. JT, I have noticed you doing this thing, and I mentioned it before, where you write like a really tiny comment before you watch the episode, and then you edit it later, which pisses me off because I feel
furious.
Like, yeah, I don't know why you're trying to first the episodes. I appreciate that you watch our videos. I love you as a guy. I fucking talked to you about Yomi Hustle. You're one of my favorites on the server, but you gotta stop doing it, man. You gotta stop stealing first before watching the episode. It's fucked up to all the other fans. It's not right. JT says, no, why is Anomalous angry in the thumbnail? Sad. I was actually going for in the thumbnail Anomalous being freaked out and panicking, but I guess it looks like he's angry because a couple of people thought that, yeah? But we told Hamill, like, we want it to be Anomalous freaking out because he doesn't know what to do. So very interesting. Sorry, Anomalous, that you were portrayed incorrectly. I'm not sure what you guys mean. I never edit my comments. And if you think otherwise, you're kind of insane or something. Alright, now I'm pissed.
He actually just replied to you.
This 4D chess. This was a pleasant surprise.
Can you take this guy away?
August! This was a pleasant surprise for me because
December,
the admonition...
get over here. Dr. December.
The whole executioner squad.
Yeah,
even the waitress is in there. She's like
the waitress is actually April.
Oh,
This is new law.
That's cute.
I'll have you take back what you said about my law.
I like the idea that like our most important employees are named after months, and the further down, like the later in the year you are, the higher your power level. So April's like kind of strong, but she's the waitress. And January, he's like the
waitress's role is to be
Tony
shocked
Towers.
when I beat you up.
Actually, you know what? Here's your password. So November, October, December, and April are taken. Design the other month PCs, and the most
if
popular
they're good
ones will
enough,
become
I will
canon.
use the narrative engine to make them real.
Yeah.
And send them after you.
JT says, this was a pleasant surprise for me because the Admonition series is one of my favorite things to come out of SCP recently. Fancy visuals, high concept science, BS, and very good use of clinical tone. Something that I feel can only exist on the SCP Wiki done well. Hope you guys get to the other Admonition stuff because 6820 isn't even my favorite in the series, which says a lot about the quality as a whole. Rating this episode a 1 out of 10 because it was disgusting. That's fucked up. First he steals the first on the comment, then he gives it a 1 out of 10. That's messed up, man. How do you rate JTKC on a scale of 1 to 10, Tanoni?
0 out of 10, which is in deletion range, actually.
Ooh, I thought it was negative 10 for deletion.
I decided otherwise.
I'll give you an 8 out of 10, JTKC. I think you're pretty good.
I'll give you a 4 out of 10.
When I rate people, they don't get bonus stars.
If you're wondering why I rated it twice, I didn't. That was the second me from before.
One step further. I am not the me of yesterday.
So you see, you may be under the impression that there are two people you're speaking to, that you're listening to right now. There's one Darnell and two Tanhonys currently. That's exactly right.
Yeah. The second Tanhony is actually February.
He's actually standing in the corner of his arms folded. A couple of things you've heard me say were actually him.
He's a PNG tuber. He's got his arms folded, and he's doing like the sigh emoji.
So he's talking sometimes, but only sometimes. Exactly.
I love how we were like, we don't have time over an hour to read the rest of this article, and then we spent 20 minutes
With
being
this
stupid as fuck.
This strange bit where I
we
pretend to be
probably
multiple
just
versions of myself in slightly different locations.
we could have just finished 674. So yeah, I want to just reiterate again, despite my harsh criticisms and tone earlier, you guys. So far, it's amazing. Placeholder, Ralston. I do really like this article. Thank you, Tanhony, for pulling me back a little bit.
No problem.
But, yeah, I think we're all good to go. Any last-minute words before we close it out?
I don't think so.
All right. In that case, y'all take care and have a great day.
Bye. Bye from me, too.